first one is called Attack of the Might. Thank you. So our next song, and they'd be able to tell you, they didn't realize it, but when I picked it out, it is actually a song that I would do with 7th and 8th grade. It is definitely a little bit more challenging, but I wanted to get them, I felt that they would be ready for some new rhythms, learning some new notes and things like that. And they've done a really good job with it. It'll definitely be improved if you come to the spring concert May 10th. But they are really, really excited about this one because it is challenging and they are starting to get it. When I first gave it to them, maybe you've had this with Mr. Miller where they're looking at you like, I can't play that. And then all of a sudden, a couple months later, you can, right? So you work on it, you learn it. So this is Afterburn. right, guys, so thank you. One thing I forgot to mention, for any percussionists out there, take note while watching any of the bands. These guys are finished now, but I can tell you, Carrick, how many instruments did you just play? 5. Yeah, so Carrick over here, he had 5 different instruments he was in charge of. So if you might notice when I stepped up and I was waiting for a second, it's because he just needed a little extra time to get set up. So percussionists out there, you will learn to play. If you're not already, you're going to learn to play all these instruments you see up here next year. Okay, timpani, mallets, bass and snare. Obviously, you're probably doing a lot of work on that right now, getting your rhythms down, and then all the other cymbals and things like that. So take notice; they move around. They don't just stick with one instrument the entire time. Okay. All right, we're going to do a quick switch here. I'm going to have my 6th grade come sit over here, 7th and 8th. You guys are going to start making your way out the doors. Stop at the backstage. Quick little transition. We'll get going. Start that first row there. So raise your hand if you've been playing in 4th and 5th grade. Oh, good. So the majority of you. Okay, awesome. And how many are just this year, first year players? Good job. Congrats, guys. Keep it up. All right, I'm glad you guys are playing. We're going to do 7th and 8th grade band next. Okay, they're going to do 3 songs. And you're going to see that they're a smaller group, okay, because we are getting involved with the COVID situation. And I'll talk a little bit about my 8th graders here in a second once I get them up here. So we'll make that transition. Also, if you had come up with any questions dealing with band while you're out there and you notice something or think of something, when I transition from 7th and 8th grade to jazz band, I'll come down there and we can have a quick little Q&A if you guys have any questions. Anything you might be thinking about or worried about, we can ease your mind on anything. We'll do that now. Okay? Give me 2 minutes and we'll start with 7th and 8th. All right, thank you for your patience. So this is 7th and 8th grade. They are combined. Can I have my 8th graders raise their hands? Okay, so any of the 8th graders you see that have their hands up, come down. They started with me in 6th grade on Zoom, and it was really interesting. As some of you guys remember having classes on Zoom, it's very difficult when you're trying to do lessons, instrument lessons. Just, you know, the way it's delayed and the feedback and stuff going on with computers. But these guys stuck with me. We did that in 6th grade, and then last year we were finally able to meet as a group. So I have 9 of them that are in 8th grade that stuck with me through that. And then 7th grade was a little bigger, right around 14, I think. So together it's a nice little group. And that's what we do here at GD. So you always combine 7th and 8th grade together. Okay, so the 6th graders you just saw, they will be with the 7th graders up here next year. And we just combine music. They all learn the same music in 7th and 8th grade. All right, so that's what we do. So this 7th and 8th grade, we are starting with Castles and Dragons. Thank you. So one thing we also try to work on, besides obviously, fundamentally getting better each year, is I always try to choose songs of different genres, different types of songs, so we get a little bit of everything. So the next one we're going to do is American Legion. This is a song we did in the winter concert. It's a march, so it's going to be more of a fast, up-tempo type of speed. So our last song that we're going to do, I think, is definitely a fan favorite up here. It's what they're going to do for the spring concert, and this is an old Tina Turner classic, Proud Mary. All right, thank you. So we've got one more treat here for you. So we have a Gunny Buster Jazz Band, and for a while it's been a class. But with the schedule this year, it was not able to be a class, so it's after school. With that being said, I think we had 3 rehearsals back in September, and then between myself coaching and basketball and things like that going on, we did not do anything from like October to about 4 weeks ago, I want to say. So they've actually met under 10 times, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 after school. So right now it's an after school activity. And we just meet when we can, when all of us are available. So I'm going to transition them. Jazz band's going to come down here to the pit. We're at least going to play 1 song, maybe 2 if there's time. While they're transitioning, I'm going to come down and see you guys. And if you have questions about the band program in Gunny Bedford, I will be down in 1 second to answer those. Okay? Any 6th grade jazz band members, come on up as well. Go ahead and start setting that up. Okay, so while they're setting up, any questions about the band programs here? Right there, yes. What is the highest note on a trumpet? What do you guys? I'll give you the answer of what these guys play. Okay, just so you have an idea. Are you a trumpet player? All right, so you're trying to think how high you need. All right. So have you guys seen high G's? Yes, right. Anything higher than high G? I think that's it, right? Okay. So on the staff, you probably played low C, right? C, D, E, F, G, second line G. Okay. Then above that, you keep going up G, A, B, C. Then there's a third space C. All right. From there, go up C, D, E, F, G. So by 8th grade, you're hitting this. You're not going to play them next year, but by 7th grade, you will start working on those high E, F, and Gs. Good question. Yes. How fast? How fast can the clarinet play? You don't have to. I mean, unless you want to play just a little rip or something. There you go. So you will. And there are times where they will have markings where they have to flip, especially, I think Tiffany has it on the saxophone today, where she's got a couple little notes that she's going to flip to a main note. That'll be really quick. Yes, sir. How many baritone players do I have? Right now, I don't have any 7th and 8th grade, but I've got, raise your hands, I got 1, 2, 3, and 6th grade. So if you're baritone, you'd be playing with these guys when you're in 7th grade, they'll be in 8th, all right? Who are my baritone and my trombones, my low brass and woodwinds? All right, good. As you can see up there, right, they put a lot of work in, okay? And so you guys are really, really important. Not to say anybody else is. You're all important, but that low brass, you guys hear all the different parts they have up there, so you learn a lot. Yeah. So you follow up. Can a baritone player play multiple instruments? Yes. You are reading bass clef, so it would be a very easy transition to trombone. You just have to learn the slide positions. So, but yes, you could definitely switch. But any instrument, I wanted to say this because it just brought up something really quick. Any instrument that you play, I will take in jazz band. All right? So sometimes they do want to transition, like if you wanted to transition to a trombone and actually be a jazz trombone player, we can do that, but that would be on a needed bass, and then we'll see how well you're playing, you know what I mean, before we make that transition. But don't think, so I have a flute player, I've got clarinet players, I even have a bass clarinet player playing clarinet tenor saxophone parts. All right, so he plays the bass clarinet, but he can play tenor saxophone parts. So I will take any instrument in jazz band if you're a strong player. You do have to audition for jazz. I'll get into that in a minute. Going off topic here. Let me just check time. Okay. Yeah, these guys want to play 2 songs, not just one for you. So I'm going to take 2 more questions, and then we're going to go ahead and switch over to jazz. Yes? Good question. So yeah, I know what you're trying to say. So for percussion, he's asking, does it matter your skill level to what instrument you're going to play up there? And to a point, yes. All right, but I definitely try to get all percussionists on all instruments at some point, at one point or another. But if you are not a strong, it does happen where you're not going to be a strong snare drum player, but you love the bass drum parts, well then I'll try to accommodate you at times and let you play bass, but you're still going to have to learn snare. And when we do what we call sectionals, where we meet 1 day a week for a lesson, we'll work on those things. Okay. One more question, River. What's the hardest instrument to play? My personal answer, just for me, learning just band instruments, I want to say I was a saxophone player from 4th grade, so I want to say the flute was the hardest for me in college when I had to learn the flute. I had a lot of challenges with that, with the air going through and things like that. But if I had to say overall, for me personally, again, in college, you had to learn string instruments too. Violin was so hard for me. When I see somebody on stage playing the violin, I'm like, I still look at all like, how are they able to do that? We'd have to play in front of our teachers and things like that, and I would just get nervous because I'd be trying to play for a grade, and my fingers would start actually shaking. So when I see somebody up on stage playing and they're playing smoothly and everything's fine, I'm like, how are they not nervous and that energy not coming out their fingers? So flute and violin would be my two on that. All right, we're gonna get started here with jazz. This is a group of 7th and 8th grade with a few. My 6th graders, raise your hand. I got 3, okay? If you start out with me next year and you're really, really strong player and you pick up things and you're practicing at home and you're coming to sectionals every week and you're having your lessons and you're doing really well, I will invite you into the jazz band for the spring of your 6th grade year. Okay, so that's something, if you really like this kind of group and you like playing jazz music, you want to put the time in and it'll be worthwhile, all right? So like I said, these guys, we have met after school. They have not all really played together until this morning because also after school there are sports activities. So we have students up here that are in track. We have students up here that are in softball, baseball. We have students up here that were in basketball in the winter. They were in soccer and field hockey in the fall. So it's all like a mix of when they can make rehearsals and not after school. All right? So we are going to start with a Stevie Wonder classic, Isn't She Lovely? All right, thank you, thank you. So, you're going to finish up with one more song called Quarterback Sneak. It's still in the mix. Now, I can tell you guys, because you are band members, you're musicians, right? You understand things get better as you practice. So, this is going to be one of our spring concert songs. We're not quite 100% on it yet. All right, so if you hear any errors or wrong notes or rhythms don't come in the right spot, or anything like that, it's our secret, right? But that's how you get better. So these guys really want to play great. They do a great job with it. But it is still in the works, okay? So let me get two more questions, and then we'll go ahead and play that. Yes. How high can the trombone go? So for you guys, how high have we gone? High E. Yeah, that's a high E flat. Okay, so if you're playing the B flat scale, you go up to B flat, and then you're going to do three more notes above that. Another high C, D, and then a high E flat. Okay, Mr. Miller. Great question. When we get to middle school, can we switch our instrument? Yes and no. All right. First of all, let me do this first part. Raise your hand if you're a percussionist. Okay, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Hands down. All right, I'm not hiring any more percussionists. Okay? So if you're a trumpet player and you're like, I'm done with trumpet, I'm going to play percussion. You can go ahead and do that outside of GB. All right? But you would have to take lessons first, and then after a year, bring you in. Okay, that way, if you're that serious about, passionate about percussionists, that's fine. But I don't have room to take you right away. When I've got 14, I got to kind of see what's going on. Okay? Now, the other part of that question, can you switch your instrument? Absolutely. I love trumpet players switching over to baritone horn. I love alto players switching to tenor saxophone or baritone saxophone. I love clarinet players switching over to bass clarinet. Okay? So, if that's if you're just done with your instrument, you're like, I want to do something different. Daniel, were you a clarinet player? Yeah, he was a clarinet player last year. And he was one of the ones right away. I said, I need some bass clarinet players. He volunteered, and he just took off with it. Now he's in the jazz band. All right, so yes, you can definitely switch your instrument, but it'd be one-on-one. We'd have to talk about it and see what your ideas are. If you're switching from a woodwind to a brass, that's kind of hard, or vice versa. Again, you would probably need to do some private lessons and then switch over in band. So I would probably say to you, if you're into that situation, let's say you're a clarinet and you're like, I want to play trumpet now. That's fine, but you would need to take some lessons outside of school from September to January, and then I can switch you for the spring concert over to trumpet. Okay? All right. One last question in the back. Yes, that's a very easy switch. Absolutely, absolutely. We could do that right away in band, and I'd be able to get you on board with that. Okay? All right, guys. If you do have any questions that you didn't get to, and you're like, oh, I really wanted to ask Mr. Berlick that, all you need to do is see Mr. Miller. He will give you my email, okay? Or you can message me on Schoology. If you have computers, you have Schoology, okay? Any way you want to get to me, all right? And we can work that out, or Mr. Miller can even email me if you have a question, and I can get back to you through him. Whatever works, okay? All right, we got one last song for today, guys, called Quarterback Sneak. Oh, we got some soloists in this too. We're gonna have Carlia, Daniel, and Josiah are gonna do a couple solos. All right, we're still in the getting in the groove process with this, so they're not gonna stand up like we normally do. I'm not gonna put the microphone in front of them because they're still working on them. But I will tell you, what you're gonna hear them play is called something called improvisation, which it means they are just looking at chords, all right? Notes, all right, and just from that pattern, figuring out what they want to play. They're not reading from music when they do their solos.